So
Yeah.
yeah, I try to. That's some of the things I try to think about is what happens if, right? Or how can I make things more efficient so that you get more training time? If prime example for you, you've been down here, you've seen the line boxes, right?
Yeah.
So at a lot of places that you've been to, how many times are you searching for a stapler, searching for staples, searching for pasters, and how much time does that take,
Oh my God. There's so much wasted time.
right? So what could you be doing with that time?
I could be loading mags. I could be getting my mind right. I can be, like, any number of things.
Or getting more training? Because you're not going through, especially if you get somebody that's really really big on accountability and you're changing targets a lot, right? uh, how much time are you spending on those targets versus actually training? And that's what those line boxes are for. And you saw them in action here. Did that seem to make the flow better for everything?
Absolutely. So just for the audience, right? The line boxes what he's talking about is, there's a berm where the targets are situated, and to protect the bases of those targets, there's, cable ties, cable I mean, I'm sorry, not cable ties,
Railroad
but
ties.
railroad ties, yeah. And so back behind the railroad ties, over there by the base of each target, there's a milk crate that holds just about everything you're going to need for that target. A staple
Mhm.
gun, spray glue,
Ex-
pasters, just
yeah.
everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, so what I do is I'll have two line crates per two targets. And one of those will have the stapler, extra staples, pasters, brass bucket, because that's important too. Um, and, and usually it's black, white, or brown on the pasters because that's the most common, right? And then the other one has a full set of pasters as well, and a can of spray glue and a brass bucket. So the idea is the most you have to do during a target refresh, and don't always know what targets they're going to have, right? But most you have to do is reach your target buddy and go, hey, I need spray glue. Or one of you sprays both and the other one puts them up or what have you, right? And if you run out of staples, you're not going back somewhere searching for them. If you run out of spray glue, yes, we have to go back to the target shed because, yeah, I'm not putting extra spray glue cans out there because you'll end up with one that's got like that much that nobody will
Yeah,
use and it's wasted. And those things
yeah,
are expensive. I mean, that's like 10, $12 a can.
yeah. You're not kidding. So,
So,
but
but
yeah,
yeah, the point is that it's efficient for you and you have everything you need to be able to continue your training and get more time actually training or shooting. I mean, depends, right?
so Bill is really, really good at, also taking care of like the biological needs of students as well. Like not just with restrooms or anything like that, but he provides water on the range. Like we always had a cooler down there.
Hmm.
There's a there's a big, big canopy that was down there with plenty of seating, and it was just a nice place that was close to the range where we could sit down and have lunch in the shade. Um,
Actual
no,
shade.
yeah, no kidding, like actual shade, not just a single tree. It was just like we felt refreshed. Um,
And I've
there was
expanded that now.
so phenomenal. Um,
I put the new target shed in, and so we've got about double. We'll have about double the next time you're here, the amount of area that's under shade.
oh, that's excellent. And we already have plenty of parking for everybody. So
Hmm.
like there was parking up there by the classroom. And then when we go to the range, there's parking right there by the range as well. So if you could picture it,
Yep.
you got your 300, maybe 350-yard line, and
Hmm.
immediately behind that line is the classroom. And
Well, to the
basically,
side of it, technically.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's generally very close.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
so yeah, I mean, you could walk if you really wanted to. I wouldn't recommend But
I've had people do that. They like to walk, so what they'll do is they'll drop their stuff down there, and then like if we're going back and forth to classroom, they'll just walk.
man, so I think those targets have movers too, right? So we were talking about movers. Can you tell me a little bit
I
about the
do.
movers?
Okay, so I do have a mover back there. I have set that up. So I think the last time you were here, I still had that set up on a specific side-loaded app and whatnot. What I've changed that to, though, is we went to a web controller. So at this point, what you can do is you connect to the Wi-Fi if you're an instructor, and I have to turn everything on. This is how I keep people from messing around, right? I turn everything on. The instructor connects to a specific IP address on that internal network, and it's a web page that goes, oh, okay, this is the mover. Turn it on, turn it off. This is the turners. Hey, what time do you want to set on that? So you can actually set the time on the turners from right there instead of having to get a timer and a whistle or something and try to sync those up. You can actually set it for 2.5 seconds, 2 seconds, whatever.
So programmable turning targets. That's pretty legit.
Well, it helps for a lot. It helps for a lot of stuff because it means that you don't have to worry about whether you made the time or not, or whether somebody fudged it because they went over or whatever. I mean, it's that the time is the time. When it starts turning, you've got that amount of time before it's turning back. And for a lot of stuff, that's useful because here's the thing: a lot of times, what is our normal start signal?
Something
Beep,
audible. Yeah.
beep, right? But if you look at the science of it, for example, your response time to being touched is about 0.12 seconds. Okay, to an audible stimulus, it's about 0.18, and then to a visual stimulus, it's 0.25. Right. So I mean, all of those are this is like known, tested. This is how the body responds, right? So it gives you a different start signal. The other thing is, one of the reasons that I got that shot box for the simulator is that you can actually use, it has a remote, so you can actually use that away from the simulator too. I can take that down there. I figured out a way to make it mobile because it does plug in. So I could have an instructor hit that remote as your start signal, just to kind of mix some things up where it's not beep, it's bang. And it's not bang that with a risk because somebody, is putting a bullet out somewhere. But it's, it's something that's one of the reasons I've been working on making it mobile is so you can do that or use it in a scenario down there as some type of start or some type of other stimulus. This is the stuff that I think about way too much.
Oh man. So, but yeah, such a gracious host. Like I'm talking, they really rolled out the red carpet for us. So what else am I forgetting about the range, about MeadHall Range?
So the target shed you haven't seen yet, the new one anyway, but that is set up where we've got steel and stands and stuff on one side of the target shed. So it's all actually undercover. We've got paper targets separated out, and you saw a little bit of that when you were here, the paper target stands. I've expanded that a little bit, or in process of doing that. And then I've also put two little box holder things like shelves, so that on, for example, one side, on the steel side, I have things like different types of paint. I've got some extra parts for the steel to make sure, your bolts and stuff, if you have to replace those. On the other side is stuff like pasters, like target tape, like, stuff like that. I keep some extra ears down there as well in case something messes up. I did have my armorer's kit while you were down here. I've actually expanded that a little bit, and I think you saw the armorer's desk in the room here.
Yeah.
But I also, because I've seen this a couple of times now, I ordered a kit that has the different types of screws and whatnot for that they use for holsters. So if someone does bust a hole, a screw comes backing out or something, then we have that. And then, I keep, spare holsters here, the GLSs
Yeah.
for that stuff, because and some of the reasons I spend money on stuff like that is you're over in you're over in not Georgia, is it?
Yeah. Memphis,
Are you
Tennessee.
okay, Tennessee? So you're over in Tennessee. What kind of you've got a travel cost to come out here for a class, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you get here, and the first morning you're here, your holster goes down, and oops, you forgot to bring an extra. Right? Is that going to affect your training experience that you paid to travel to and paid the cost of?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So part of my intent is that I want you to get back to training. Now, it doesn't mean I can provide every single thing you would ever need, but I can provide, for example, if need be, the armorer's table here with basic tools and a vise so that, hey, maybe we can see if we can get you back up and going. If you're one of these folks that maybe you're new to training, you haven't figured out, hey, bring a spare gun or spare parts. Actually, you may need parts because I'm not keeping those in stock, right? But just it's the whole point is if it's a training facility, shouldn't some basic needs be met? Or to get you back to training. And like I said, I can't do everything, but you should do something. I mean, just even having water down there. And actually, one thing that we just touched on was the cookie bars.
The cookie bars. Oh, they were amazing.
Those are a coconut chocolate chip bar. It's from a recipe that the wife got from her mom, and we don't know where she got it. So it could have been from a Reader's Digest somewhere like back in the day. She's been eating these since she was a kid, right? And we make sure that there is, if we have a good group here and they're eating a lot of them, then we'll make sure there's a new pan every day. If we've got a group that only maybe ate a quarter or a third, okay, well, you may get the same pan the second day, but you'll have something to snack on. Something I've started looking into as well is freeze drying pickles.
Okay.
And I have a very specific reason for that. What's the two components of dehydration?
Yeah. Water and sodium.
Correct. What's there a lot of in pickles?
There's a lot of water and sodium in pickles.
Well,
There's a lot of
so here's the
sodium.
thing. There is, and there's other minerals that, that's why they say if you get cramps, drink pickle juice, right?
That's what I
Because
do.
those minerals are in there. So it's one of those things of I always provide water. And that's what you always hear in a class, drink water, drink water, drink water. If you're not replacing the salt, is drinking water going to, it's going to help, right? But if you've lost that much salt, your body can't take the water in as well. So you can still end up getting dehydrated. So that's why I'm looking at those as a thing to have on hand, right? Now, from a business perspective, that's stupid because it's more cost and more hassle and whatnot. But it's one of those things. I want people to be safe. I want them to leave here healthy, and I want them to go, hey, I sure learned a lot from that play. Why did I learn more in that class than I did somewhere else? Maybe it has to do with the facility around you.
Folks, I want to give a very special thank you to Top Gun Shooting Range here in Memphis, Tennessee. This is where I teach personally. Folks, I do not shill for anybody. I promote the causes that I believe in, and I believe in Top Gun Memphis. Come by and see us.